We all do.
Today is Sean Keane.
Anybody found any new ways to get listings?
That's a good question. Best way I know how to go about it is make phone calls, get in front of people. Talk about the market. Have you, Shana?
No, but I did find some really cute here. I look like heck, but look at my cute little cards that I found.
Oh,
Aren't those cute?
yeah. Where did you find those?
Actually, Amazon.
I don't even know why I ask anymore.
It surprised the heck out of me. They're actually really good thick quality too. But I just stumbled across them. I was actually looking at like t-shirts to promote the fact that I'm a real estate agent when I go to pick my kid up from school. I was looking for like a hoodie or a nice t-shirt that says something about me being a realtor, and I just happened to stumble across these and thought those are super cute and they'll look really great with my business cards. So I'm gonna give it a whirl.
Let me see it again.
They say, let me help you find your happy place. Whether you're looking to buy a home, sell your current home, obtain investment properties, or planning a relocation, I'm here to help with all of your real estate needs. And then it says, look, we're looking forward to connecting with you. And you put your little business card in there. And then I'm going to write cute little personal messages on the back.
Ask a question. What are those ways that we can engage people, right? Are you currently living in your dream home?
Yeah.
Do you need more space? I like it. All right. So it's a little bit, so we're after 1 o'clock, and we've got an appointment at 1, but I want to run through. Who's got something good for me out of the weekend?
I followed up on a lead of mine. This is Gwendolyn, by the way. Sorry, I'm in my car, stuck behind logging trucks trying to head home. I followed up on one of my leads in Roseburg, and apparently the potential lead has nearly 20 years of equity in his home. He's a veteran, and he's looking to upgrade to a farm. So I'm pretty excited about that because it sounds like, you know, he's a lot closer than maybe he even realizes. And what's cool is that the two of them, my sister and this.
That's a great question.
Keep going.
My sister and her boyfriend both just got promoted. So it looks like we're really close, and I'm pretty excited about it. And it would be a listing and a purchase. So.
Perfect. How many people are working? If you're working for a buyer right now, type 1 in the chat. tempering the expectations. Huge in this market. Okay, so let's start with some accountability. Oh, that's who I'm missing. Okay. Perfect. Let's run through some accountability. Heather, how'd your weekend go? How many contacts? How many notes?
I spent most of mine in the car, but I got a couple of contacts made from driving here and there.
Very cool. Where did you go? Nope, you froze.
I put over 400 miles on my car in 2 days.
Welcome to the life of a realtor. That is a lot of drive time. Nicholas.
Yeah,
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
How was your weekend? How many contacts? How many notes?
I'm actually not starting to work until next weekend, so I'm just taking.
Oh,
it
cool.
early.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Let's go with Leah. Leah. Okay, let's go Alex.
Okay, so Alex and I got a little bit behind. I was sick for like a straight week, so that was a little brutal. But so we have just been working on the last couple days, just adding more contacts and getting more contact information for the contacts we've already had in there. So yeah, it's just been a lot of administrative work like that.
And that's perfectly fine. That's actually yay. I mean, database management is the number one thing we can do in real estate.
Right.
And we just ordered birthday cards. We're trying to get everyone's birthdays in there. Using Facebook is a great tool for the birthdays, even in our families that we can't remember. So we're making progress.
It's a great idea. Absolutely a phenomenal idea. Mine's May 28th, by the way.
You're already in there, Matt.
Love it. Marissa.
Hi. So I, over the weekend, made about 10 contacts and I'm working on getting them added in today. I spent my morning at First American Title learning about title reports. Over the weekend, I previewed 3 homes and we checked out 1 open house. And then I'm working on getting all my handwritten notes to all those 10 contacts finished today.
Very cool. Going with the basics. I like it. Gwendolyn.
Oh, I had my birthday weekend with my family, so I didn't really get so much done. I did get a few contacts from next door, but I literally just walked through my door, so I don't know precisely how many, but I'm guessing in the neighborhood of 7. So I'll have to add them later today.
Okay, perfect. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. It's actually not till the 28th. So
Well, I got that covered now, don't I?
you do, you're good.
Sonia. And it's, I just like to add too, it's important to take that time with your family and celebrate. Sometimes we can get wrapped into this 24/7. So take that time, enjoy time with the family and get refreshed and recharged.
It's definitely nice.
Cool. Sonia.
So I haven't been able to add any contacts because I was called into work every single day. And yesterday was my only day off, so I went and watched Mortal Kombat instead. So I'm very sorry, but I failed today. And today I've just been hungover and I've just made it for class. So I've been slacking on my real estate, but I'll do better tomorrow. I told myself.
Perfect. Natalie.
So I kind of am doing a little bit of a different approach. I have gone through and started calling everybody in my market center to introduce myself, and kind of just saying like, hey, if you have any listings that need an open house, let me know. And so I am kind of organizing my open house schedule now. So yeah, it's been pretty cool, like meeting people, and I think they're pretty like shocked when they're like, oh, like welcome. And then I've been getting cool advice from people and it's been fun.
I think that's actually brilliant.
Yeah, I got the idea from you. So it's been good.
I think that is one of the best things you can do as a new agent is call and introduce yourself to other agents.
Yeah.
And actually set yourself aside instead of waiting for the open house to come out.
Yeah, it's been cool because I've been talking to like some high producing agents, and then they were like, oh, I have this listing that's coming up. I think it would be great for an open house. So you got it already. And I was like on my calendar, blocked it off, ready to go, ready to do it.
Good. Send them a personal note that says thank
you.
you.
You got it. You got it.
They like to be schmoozed too.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Who doesn't like being schmoozed? So
well done. Who am I missing? Let's see. Jamar.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hey, I'm driving. As far as my accountability, I have literally just left a showing. I was working on this weekend. I have an active client, actively looking as we speak, pre-approved, and so I showed the property this weekend. Got outbidded, or the listing agent told me that the stronger bids came in $30K over listing price. So my client declined to compete for that particular property. Looked at another property today before the deadline of the offers going in, and they declined to put in an offer. They didn't think they didn't like the layout of the house. So as far as my contacts go, I have a couple of contacts from last week that I haven't added in, but I haven't had any time to do any more dialing since. So that's what I got going on.
Yeah, you're crushing it. So way to go. I'm gonna look here. Joyce.
Hi.
Hi.
I've showed a couple of houses for some other agents, and it was good talking with the buyers and learning how difficult it's been. One of them made 6 offers and didn't get the house. One of their offers was even 100K over, and they still lost the house. So that was really interesting because it's in the $500,000-$600,000 range. And it's shocking. And then through my work, I make probably anywhere from 1 to 10 contacts in person. So some of them I tell them what I do, and some of them I'm sort of developing that relationship and waiting for it to naturally come to that moment when they ask, because eventually everyone asks.
And that's okay. That's, we're cultivating relationships. That's what it's all about. I love it. Dave.
On Saturday, I don't know if I ever heard. On Saturday, I reached out to about 5 people I haven't spoken to in a while, just told them that I'm in real estate now. And then yesterday I drove down to Albany to get my first vaccination shot. So that kind of took the whole day out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reaching out to some more people this week. And then I'm going to have some pictures taken tomorrow for media because I haven't had any pictures taken in a while. So.
Okay. Any side effects?
No, but I just drank a bunch of water and just like slept for like 11 hours anticipating. One of my friends got really sick. So, but I'm glad that I've been living alone for like a year. So it's been fine, but I'm ready to start interacting with people again.
Love it. Jane.
It's actually the second shot where you start to have really serious side effects in most cases. The only ones that have side effects for the first tend to have an allergy, just, so everyone's aware.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. I actually been working, getting my house onto the market, as you know. And I just finished the exterior painting this weekend, and I talked with the painters, and they were really good, and the price was really reasonable. And I introduced myself, and they were excited. And he says, "You know what? I want to buy the house by the end of the year." I said, "That's great." And his brother says, "I just got married. I want to buy a house soon too." So I'm, building up my relationships and getting things done. And I reached out for a couple of friends and told them, but they're the coolest friends I have. However, I don't have my card yet and all my marketing materials. So that's what I'm going to work on really, because I expect my house to go on the market in 3 weeks. So I want those to be ready before I kind of broadcast, so I can follow up with something more, like a card or something. So
Okay.
Since they're loading.
Let me know if you got time tomorrow. I'd be happy to sit down with you. Okay.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Sam.
I just had a couple people over the weekend.
I think we lost him. He froze. He froze. Okay. We'll come back to him. Michaela.
Hi. So this weekend I went to 13 open houses and I learned a lot of what I don't want to do if I host any. I had a couple hour-long meeting with my mentor on Sunday. She answered a ton of questions for me. It was really nice. This morning I talked with a friend actually who is a lender, and I'm going to add him to my preferred lender list, which will go on my selling presentation booklet thing that I made. Over the weekend I did a buyer's one and I haven't done the selling one yet.
Turn this down.
Made a full-on PDF thing, updated, ready to go out. And I'm actually going to mail one to my potential client that I'm going to meet with in like 3 weeks. I'm going to snail mail it to her.
I will for sure. Thank you. I appreciate
stuff
that.
like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Well done.
Good enough? Okay.
And did you have time to sleep?
A little bit.
Okay. Let's see. Jay Dealing, is that right? There he is. Oh, you're on mute.
Everybody's freezing up today.
You got me now?
I have you now.
Okay, sorry. So I've been this weekend, I went around in my immediate area here and went and just looked at a bunch of homes, did like some drive-bys and just to see what is out there, kind of in a lower range, honestly, just looking around at this and that, and Springfield, Coburg area over here. And today I've made a few contacts here that I've been going around essentially trying to develop out my list of lenders to have on my database. And I've made 3 contacts here this morning doing that. And just following up with doing a lot of the basic stuff here still. I'm working on just completely upgrading my profile and getting commands set the rest of the way up. And I'm working on my logo and still finishing up getting my RMLS finished up. So I've got lots here to do, lots of busy work here, essentially.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Who'd I miss? Did I miss anybody? Jacob? Okay. I didn't miss anybody. I think, is everybody, do we have good connection? Is anybody still, are we all good? Give me thumbs up. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So as we all know, it's about the time that we're going to introduce, let's see. Sean, are you here?
Yep, I'm right here.
There he is. Sean and I go way back. We have the same barber. But anyway, I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Sean. He works as a team in Salem with his wife, and he's always giving back. He's been in real estate since 2007. He's retired from corrections and law enforcement after 21 years to pursue his passion and dream to help people with their real estate needs. Let's see. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, me. All right. Well, born and raised here in Salem. I joke around that one time I ventured to Kaiser for about 1.5 years and came back. That's about as far as I've ever gone. Got married, obviously, like you mentioned, my wife Kim, and we have 3 kids. 1 grandbaby on the way. So number one, that'll be exciting. Yeah, we're excited for that. We have a team of me and my wife, who is operations manager. We have 2 buyers agents, and we have a runner / kind of do it all. Our youngest, which is my daughter, who's 18. And last year, 2020, COVID year, we did 49 transactions. We only had 1 buyer's agent then. We did 49 transactions for almost 18 million. This year, we're on pace for 80 transactions at about 35 million. So we sell homes.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And he's a great resource for questions, anything like that. Perfect. Well, with that, I will absolutely turn it over to you. And today is going to be about selling your listing, not listing your listing. It's how do you sell it?
It's going to be a short class. Today, in this market, you put the sign in front and then get out of the way.
Hey, will you do that for less money?
No. We have to deal with all the back end stuff. That's the problem. It used to be the front end stuff was the hard stuff. Now it's the back end stuff, the hard stuff. No, just joking. So yeah, if we're going to go over this, I'm going to kind of go 2 different ways in this whole thing. I'm going to kind of tell you what's going on now, and then I'm going to kind of tell you what you should be doing historically. When I started back in 2007, the market, who knows when the market tanked? Or who knows when it started turnover? It started to turn over February of 2007. My license date is February 7th of 2007. So I was sitting in real estate school thinking, oh, great, just like I joked about, put the sign in the yard, make lots of money. And by the time I got done with real estate school and got my license, the market was just spiraling downhill, and it crashed mid-08 here in this area. The upside is I had to learn how to sell listings. I had to learn how to sell and how to market and do all that kind of great stuff. You'll very rarely find an agent with a license start date of 05 or 06. There's just not very many of them out there because they did not have to learn, and a lot of them were just gone once the market started tanking down. So I bring experience from both markets, so hopefully this will be informative. And I tend to go on tangents. I tend to talk really fast, so if I get going too fast, let me know. I am a hyperactive squirrel, and I sometimes need to be railed back in. I will most certainly, I am not afraid, I'll give you my opinion on a lot of things. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. And at the end, I will also give you my contact information. As our wonderful lead instructor here explained to us, I am open, and feel free to give me a call. I'm an open book. I will share whatever, and I will tell you whatever, and pretty easy going that way. So anybody got any questions to start with? I am going to try to monitor the chat. I'm not very good at doing both. So if you put stuff in the chat, I will probably follow up with it and get to you. But otherwise, just shout out a question if you have it, or if you want to know anything to start with. And otherwise, we'll just get started down the road here. Let's see, share screen. Look at that. I was practicing earlier. I've never been very good at the Zoom thing. So let's see. We don't do it looking through the Zoom was one of the things I know you guys have talked about and is very important with all this stuff, because I think Ignite is an important class, is you learn all this stuff. This is the basis of lead generation, your 10 new contacts, 10 people, 10 notes. I mean, this is real estate. That's what it is. Abe Shreve, if you haven't heard of his name, you will hear one of these days with Keller Williams, because he's one of the top coaches in Keller Williams. I had some coaching calls with him one time, and one of the things he told us was, you have 2 real estate businesses. Your first one in the morning is lead generation, and your second one opens up in the afternoon, and that's selling houses. And your afternoon business doesn't get to open unless your morning business is successful. So this all is just setting good habits and handwriting notes. One of my biggest expenses on my team is postage. We send out we have all sorts of cards and letters and notes we're always sending out. So it's to me, this is very important, because you just don't see it anymore. I know somebody mentioned they were getting birthdays from Facebook. Another great one to do for Facebook is when you're sending them quick message notes saying, hey, it's your birthday. My team loves sending out cards. What's your home address? And then you start getting people's home addresses too, if you aren't already doing that. That's one of the things we do. So we get a lot of that stuff. All right. Get your head into the game. Successful marketing and servicing of listings. You guys have already gone through all about how to get appointments, and now we're going to talk about how to sell them. If you do your job well, you are going to generate buyers from your listings. Plus, you're going to generate more listings from the neighbors and do the marketing right. They say every listing is good for 4 to 5 transactions if marketed and done right. So, and that's why we talk about Keller Williams, listing is leverage. That's where you're getting the big bang for your buck. Talks about generating repeat business and referrals and all that kind of stuff. That's good. We want that. That makes it easier. Okay, on to the meat of stuff. Staging the property, marketing the listing, and communication with sellers. These are the 3 keys. Right now, even in this fast market, we're still doing staging consults. Every one of our listing gets a staging consult. We do not pay for staging. If the seller and the stager would like to work out a deal amongst themselves for staging, they will, but we will pay for the consult. That's part of our value prop. So let's go on to the
That's something you guys do, your team does?
Yep. We have a stager that's on contract with us, and she charges us per transaction. We have a full tiered system. The more she does, the less we pay for us. But yeah, I suggest it at every listing appointment. At every listing appointment, I just tell them this is what we're going to be doing. Once they sign with us, this is what we do. This is part of the process. And a lot of people get pushed back. They worry about do I got to live like this? I tell them, no, this is for photos. This whole process right here is for photos. We want photos. We do 3D tours. We do walkthrough videos on all of our listings. And that's to make this all look good. You still have to live in the house, but but that's all something that we provide. Page 13 here, we're going 13, 15, staging. Important thing about staging is people don't realize how they, hopefully this doesn't sound bad. People don't realize how they live. We're all comfortable in our homes, and we all are just, things are laying all over the place, and they just don't understand that our goal is to, make this house look its best, make this house, make this 1,500,000 square foot house feel like it's 2,000 square feet, make people feel like they're getting a deal, and just getting rid of clutter. I mean, basic staging tip is you tell everyone, no more than 5 things on any flat surface. Take down photos. If you got the big grandma wall of all the grandkids, please take those, have them take that down. But for the most part, the reason we started using the stager to do the consult is she's the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. I have to continuously work with these people, and she sees them one time, maybe twice. So she's got no problem being the bad guy because she wants everything to look pretty. So that's one of the things. We want to set the tone and make it feel like, have them envision themselves living there. And the more crisp and clean and put together the house looks, the easier that's going to be. I mean, right now, like I said, we're still doing it right now, but you don't have to do a whole lot of this stuff in this current market. Historically, you need to learn how to do these things, because once this market changes, you'll be left in the tracks if you're not prepared to do these things or doing them. That's why we have not stopped doing them. We have our system, we continue with our system. Our system's been the same way for years. So we just keep moving forward, even though we probably don't have to have a stager come out. We probably don't have to have these things, but that's my value prop, and so we offer it. What else is important about staging? Who else got any ideas? Anybody? Nobody got any staging ideas of why it's important? I will sit here in awkward silence. It doesn't bother me.
You want to present the house in as neutral a way possible so that they can imagine themselves there, and depersonalize it from whoever owns it.
Yep.
One benefit is that it, like when I sold my house, I staged it amazingly and put like everything in the garage. So I effectively pre-packed so that when we sold it real fast, I was like halfway done already. So from the seller's perspective, it was nice to not then have to be out. Like I just brushed it. And then I got to live in this really pretty clean house for like 3 weeks, which is nice.
It looks like we all really wanted it to look when we were living there. We just never did.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's kind of like when I do walkthroughs, when we were doing our walkthrough, and here's a great little script you can use anytime you're walking through a house with somebody and they're asking you if they should change things or do paint colors or fix something. You might want to write it down. It works every time. The script is, I would. The people are willing to do the work, let them do it. If it needs done, we all know it needs work done in our house. I mean, I know I can probably give you a list of all the things that need done in my house that I just haven't done or haven't had somebody do. But so when you're going through this process, they're going to point out all the things they know need done. So when they say, do you want me to, paint this wall, you want me to paint this black wall? Yeah, I would. You want me to change out this light fixture that doesn't work and hasn't worked in the last 5 years? We just don't use this room. Yeah, I would. Simple, easy. If they're offering to do stuff, let them do it. So, page 14 talks about, the different percentages of increased offer due to staging. It's true, you do. I mean, you are selling, when you're selling a house compared to you're selling a house with a lifestyle, you get more money with the house and lifestyle. So you're making that thing present better than it would. Now, so average staging is 675. It depends. I mean, it all depends. If you go for a full house staging, it's gonna be a lot more than 675. But if you're doing like just a few of the key rooms, like it talks about down here on the bottom of page 14, living room, kitchen, maybe master bedroom, you could easily get in for that amount. But if you're gonna go for a whole house stage, you're gonna be up in the $2,000 range. I've done whole house stages before, but only on larger price points. I will not, because it just isn't beneficial. We can work with what they have. Usually it's a vacant house is when I'll do that, if it comes to that point. Curb appeal, talks about a little bit at the bottom of page 14. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be the first impression, most certainly. So clean up the yards if possible. People are gonna push back some, especially right now. They're not gonna think they have to do anything, which they probably are right this moment. Historically, we want to clean up that yard. Have in your Rolodex, I'll go old school because I'm kind of old, have landscapers, ones that'll do cheap cleanup work. I got one that he will come out and for cheaply, he'll come clean up the front yard, make it look pretty for photos and everything. Start getting those people. One of the things I did early on is when it's kind of hard right now, but if next time they have like a home show, go wherever you're at, so I know we're all up and down the I-5 here, go to the home show with a bunch of cards and go around, start introducing yourself to all the vendors that get in their cards. Those are all the people you're going to use. Not necessarily individual people, but I mean, they're going to be their window people, landscapers, fence builders, door companies. Everything's going to be at a home show that you're eventually going to need to use. So go meet some of them. Sorry, one of my side notes there. Page 15. Some of the objections we have here. Seller says, I don't see why it's important. Why is it important, the stage?
Because nobody wants to come in and look at other people's messes.
Yep. And anymore with these cookie cutter neighborhoods we're getting, I mean, with these national builders come and build, have 6 options. So you go every 5 doors, you'll find the exact same house. What if there's 2 or 3 other houses, that same floor plan and everything in that neighborhood for sale? Or even close, and they're not staged. Historically in a market that happens right now, or with low inventory, it's not happening, but you go, year from now or whatever is going to happen, when the market starts to change, you are going to run into competition. And so you got to stand out. These last 2 I laughed about when I was reading them. Do we really have to make repairs right now? No. It's not happening. We're getting a lot of as is, waive inspections, waive appraisals. So, but I always normally push that question off until we get to that point, unless we know there's some obvious thing. And if they're obvious, we're trying to take care of them up front. Like if you walk up and you're seeing, like, I know that's going to need to fix. I know that's going to need to be fixed to sell this house. I have that conversation up front. Usually the things we run into on our team are things in the attic, things under the house, or things on top of the house, because most sellers don't go to those places. And I'm not going to go there in a walkthrough. So that's usually a lot of the stuff that comes up in our stuff, because we try to get out in front. What was that? Somebody cut out.
You're saying those are things that you try to get taken care of before you even have people in to see the house?
Yep. When we have our walkthrough and I sit down and have a talk with them, I'm going to point out all the things I know might come up as an issue. I've been doing this for 15 years. I can pretty much pick out everything that's going to come up as an issue.
So what? You said basement and attic things, but can you speak more specifically about what those things are that you're mentioning beforehand?
I see the roof needs clean, because you walking up, you're going to tell if the roof's having issues. You're going to see moss. You're going to see if it's peeling up. You're going to things like that. Let's have a discussion. Siding issues. I'm going to ask a lot of questions about the furnace. If I go inside a house and it's got a green furnace, I know it's been there a while. When was the last time it was serviced? Do we need to service this? We need to get this, let's service this before we put it on the market, so we know what's going on with it. Same thing with hot water heaters. How old is the hot water heater? Like I said, any kind of appliance that is a green, yellow, or brown, we need to have a talk about, because we know those are probably 20 to 30 years old. And the lifespan of appliances, even though the lifespan of those appliances is going to be a lot longer than the ones we currently have, we still got to discuss things like that. We see rips in carpets. We see, things like that. You're walking around the house. You're seeing broken lights that don't work. I'm messing with light switches. I'm checking out that stuff. I'm looking for cracks. I'm looking for all the things that most buyers, when they go in, I mean, I do the same thing when I show houses. I don't show them much anymore, but when I would show houses, all the things I would look for them, I'm checking, like, they're settling cracks. Have they taken care of those? If they haven't taken care of settling cracks, which are pretty easy to fix, what else haven't they taken care of? You're looking around for, so like, they're looking at counters and cabinets and colors, and I could really care less what color the place is. It's their choice. But my job is to be the professional, which we're going to talk here, I think, on the next page. Coming up. No, it's coming up somewhere. We're the fiduciary. We need to show that we're the professional, and as a fiduciary, it's our responsibility to put their needs ahead of ours.
So even in this market, those are still things that you are mentioning to the seller and maybe trying to encourage them to go ahead and get taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Most certainly. It's all.
And with the roof, is that how would you handle something like that? I know that if the roof hasn't been replaced and it's been 15, 20 years, is that something you're going to wait and try to negotiate during closing, or is that something that you might say to them, hey, let's up the value of your home, you put in this much to get the roof replaced and we can up your price?
It all depends on them. I mean, I'm a firm believer it's not my job to make decisions on anything. It's my job to give them information and they can make the decision. If I come up and it looks like the roof needs replaced, we're going to talk about it, and that's going to be a talk we're going to have. Now in this market, like I said, a lot of the stuff I'm going to tell you is historical. In this current market, we're going to roll the dice. We just did on one house, and the roof needed a new roof, and we ended up splitting it with them, even though it needs a new roof. A lot of things we're going to roll the dice. But that being said, if I can go through and I can point out some things and they're willing to take care of them, and it's going to make the whole process smoother and quicker for everybody, I'm going to encourage them to do those. So in the current market, we're not doing a whole lot. I am still pointing stuff out so they know. I don't want surprises. I don't like surprises. I'm going to tell them, hey, this may be an issue, this may be an issue, this may be an issue, just so you guys know. Current market, let's see what happens. Normal market, yeah, we need to fix these ahead of time. How's that? That's, I'll give you a good
That's
answer.
great. That's
Okay.
perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And then the other one was, why can't we sell it as is? Yeah, you can right now. You just can. I know our inventory, if you're in Portland, I know the inventory is what, at 0.07 months. If you're in Salem, we're at like 1.3. And if, I don't know what Eugene's is, but I'm sure it's probably right in that ballpark. So can you sell it as it is? Yes. Now, little side note, I don't know how many, I know like down in Eugene, they're about 8% up. Our listings are up all across the board. I think Eugene's about 8. We're at about 9.5% more than we were last year, more listings. Portland's listing inventory from this year to last year is up, but our active inventory, what's active and available, is down. That's that month. So there are more homes coming to the market than there were last year. There are just so many more buyers. Interest rates are so much lower, and we're getting a lot of people from out of state coming in. So that's the problem. So there's a little real estate lesson on that kind of thing. So it's not an inventory issue. We have lots of inventory.
What's the normal answer to that though in regular market?
And which one?
Why can't we sell it as is?
Because that's going to affect price. And if you put it as is in a normal market, you're going to scare buyers away.
Okay.
Because
So
in a
you mean
normal
you
market, sorry.
actually write as is, not like,
Yeah.
like the actual, if you list it as.
Yeah, because if you don't put it as is in the MLS, you're not going to get as is offers, or you're not going to, people are going to start asking for stuff, and your sellers are going to get frustrated. If they truly want to sell it as is, you should put that out front in the MLS saying, look, we're selling it as is, boom, here it is. Now in this market, it's just kind of whatever, but normally, yeah, you want to put that out there because people are going to start lowballing you in the normal market. If they see as is, they are, because they think there's a bunch of stuff wrong with it. Now there may be nothing wrong with it. And they just don't want any hassle, but people are going to perceive that there is. We had one recently in Kaiser that was, we got $40,000 over list price for it, and she wanted to sell it as is. Well, they came back with about $1,500 worth of work that needed to be done. And my seller was stomping her feet saying it's as is. We said that right up front. And I finally told her, I said, you realize they just gave you $40,000 more than you were expecting to get for this house and listed? Can't we figure out how to do $1,500 worth of work that your nephew is a licensed contractor or a licensed electrician, he can do it for you? Finally, she relented and had the work done. So, I mean, so it's kind of depending on the situation. There are no 100%, this is stamped in rock, this is what the answer is in real estate. There are people involved. It's always going to change. Until we get people out of real estate, it's going to always be up in the air, kind of, this is kind of the answer, kind of idea. So on the as is normal market, the problem is people lowball you. They will, and then some buyers won't even come look at it.
Now, maybe this might be a dumb question, but as a new agent, what is the thought process? So you had someone put in an offer 40,000 over list price, and they're asking for $1,500 worth of repairs. That's obviously not much. Is that just stuff that they want done so that when they get to the house, they don't have to have someone come and do it and it's already ready to go? Is that the thought process there?
Yeah, I mean, and I know me as a buyer's agent, when I work with buyers, is this is all electrical stuff, and I will always try to get electrical stuff taken care of. One, if the deal doesn't work out, the stuff I'm calling out probably needs to be done to prevent fires for the current seller. And two, I don't want fires on my buyer. So I always call electrical stuff. I will, even as is. I'm like, we need to get this figured out. It's safety for everybody. We're not going to close for another month, and this is a safety issue, and your client's living in this house for the next month. You know.
Okay. So that's the script, and that's the angle. Even in a market where buyers don't have leverage, you're asking for it because it's a safety thing.
Yep. And if things come up on the inspection, because we're having people waive the inspection period, but not the inspection, so they're still doing inspections. If stuff's popping up that we know, like appraisers are going to call out, hot water heater straps, things like, all the little CO detectors, smoke detectors, we'll get those taken care of just because we need to do this. But if it's other things, I hardly ever, unless it's a major leak, even in a normal market, I won't call it plumbing stuff unless it's a major leak. I mean, it's plumbing, we can fix that. But like I said, fire stuff, like electricity always makes me worried because it can cause fires. I've had friends lose houses to fires, and that's not good. So So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that kind of stuff. That makes sense. Whoops. Whoa. There we go. Page 16, marketing the listings. When you guys get to that point, a lot of you are new. Let me ask this. We got 22 people on there. How many people here have taken a listing? I know we're a lot of new people. There's probably some people that aren't. See a lot of head shake. Like I see a lot of head shaking. No. All right, one. Oh, can I get? We got one up there. Right. So it's important to come up with your marketing plan on page 16 right here. It's list a 14-step marketing plan. You can use this one. When I first started, I stole everything. My team has an extensive R&D department, rip off and duplicate. I have come up with, in 15 years, I've come up with one real estate idea and it failed miserably. So I just steal everything else. So come up with a marketing plan, something that you can say, look, this is what we're going to do to sell your house. The key then is you must do all those things. That's how you get repeat clients. That's how you get them to refer you. Look, I said I was going to do, ours is a 101-point marketing plan. So, I mean, that's been building over, 15 years. And a lot of that stuff is, I will put it in the MLS. Same. Like, I mean, things like that. I will take professional photos. Well, I'm going to do that no matter what. So, but come up with a marketing plan. Like I said, the 14-page one here, 14 steps but come up with it and show it. That's your value proposition. That's where you're going to be like, this is what I'm doing for my money.
I have a quick kind of side question. Number 11 on here. What is an MLS tour?
Yeah, we don't do those anymore. This is from Texas. Just so you know, all this paperwork's from Texas. So some of the things in here you might. But MLS tours is what we used to do, broker tours, where we'd caravan around all the brokers and we'd show everybody the houses and we'd look at them as just brokers before they hit the market. Here, I know in the Salem area, we stopped doing that about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
So that's just broker tour. It's like an open house, but just for brokers. If you ever watch $1 Million Listing?
I haven't seen any of those though. I'm like, do those show up? Like, is that just something they type in the listing? Like, I'm going to host a broker tour, or do agents call brokers they know and say, hey, do you want to come? Or like,
it used to be you'd put it out in the MLS, and the MLS would say Tuesday is broker tour day, and they'd have a list. The MLS was the one that would organize it, and they, like I said, they just stopped doing it.
So if I wanted to have a broker tour, if I have like a multi-million-dollar listing or something, I would just I'd put it in the listing, or I'd put it at contact.
You would start making contacts. The best way to do that, if you're going to do something like that, you're talking, that's more of like a tour or a party. You start contacting agents around the area. You start contacting offices. You start sending out invites. If you've ever watched like $1 Million Listing or any of those shows,
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
those are technically broker tours, but they're doing parties there for TV and for themselves. But quick side note. So the $1 Million Listing in LA, one of the guys on there, Josh, used to be with Keller Williams. I was able to, you can look up all their numbers. You can look up his because he was Keller Williams in the Keller Williams system. And there was one episode where they were arguing over who sold the most houses, and they were all in like the $250 million GCI range. And you looked and he sold like 7 houses. But he was in like $250 million range where these guys were all arguing. They don't sell more than 10, 15 homes a year, a lot of those guys. But their price point's a little higher than ours. So like you lived in Dunthorpe every day. Up in the Portland area. So yeah, come up with your marketing plan. Are you guys going out and looking, like I said, with COVID and all this Zoom stuff, it's a little different. I don't know what's going on out there with you guys. You guys going and looking at houses now so you can see them and know them? Page 17. Start looking at them from this point of view on page 17 there. Instead of just going to look at the house, what do you think of the pricing compared to what you've seen? What do you think of signage? Look at the other agent's sign. What do you think is going on with that? How do you like that? Is it something you would like to do? Something you don't like how they did it? Is it just done badly, in your opinion? Staging. Is the home staged? Is their home a mess? Is there dog toys everywhere? Is there, dog food, kid food, everything, dishes, dirty dishes missing? Start looking at these things and make mental lists for yourself to be like, when you talk to your clients, hey, these are some of the things you think of. These are some of the things you need to know. Make a list for yourself. I want to make sure my sign doesn't look like that sign. I want to make sure it's not placed like that. So Same thing when you're seeing the images. Do the photos look like the real thing? That drives me just batty. You're gonna pay for professional photos, great, but don't pay for the touch-ups. Don't pay for the virtual fake stuff. Put the photos out there. Put out what's real. I mean, you can. I've been known to lighten up Sky a little bit here and there, but beyond that, no. I mean, put the real product out there. I had a listing out in Malawa here we recently sold that one of the comments we kept getting was, wow, this really looks like the photos, because everybody thought they were doctored. So yeah, make sure you're putting out the true representation of what you have.
One thing I plan on doing, just to suggest if anybody else is curious to do this, I kept all the flyers for all the open houses I went to this weekend, and I'm like filing them. And I have a reminder in like 35 days, I'm going to look on the MLS and see how many of those went for over asking. And once everything's closed, so I can, that'll help me get a better like understanding of appropriate pricing, right, for this market. So it's just something I'm going to start doing.
Yeah, you'll be out with a buyer. I do this when I'm out with them. I do this all the time. We'll look at 5, 6, 7 homes. In the old market, in the new market, you're putting offers on 5 or 6, 7 homes. But they would start, after about the 5th or 6th, they're starting to ask, what do you think of the price? And I'd look at them, I go, you guys see the same stuff I have. What do you think of the price? How do you guys feel comfortable? It's your money. I always tell, it's easy for me to spend your money. I can spend your money real quick. It's easy. But what do you guys think? Put some of that onus back on them, because they're all gonna lean on you hard. Like, what do you think? What do you think? You've seen the same stuff I have. What do you think? It's your money. Are you comfortable spending as much money for this house? Kind of idea. Some little, like when you're showing houses, some little, for lack of a better term, call them parlor tricks. Go out and can't tell how old the hot water heater is. Look how much dirt's on top of it. If it's nice and if it looks new and there's no dust on top of the hot water heater or the furnace, probably pretty new. Start picking up little things like that. You're looking for cracks. You're looking for all sorts of just the stuff they're not looking at, the concerns. Are the floors level? Things like that. I know this isn't about sell your listing, but you can do the same thing when you walk through a listing too. When you're listing, get the feel for the house and things you as a professional know just don't seem right, and ask questions. Ask lots of questions. All right, page 18. Hope you all don't mind. I go quick, so we'll be done early. If that's a problem with anybody, raise your hand. Okay, nobody's hand raised. Hold an effective open house. This is pre-COVID. This was one of our bread and butters. We haven't been doing them a lot with COVID due to the rules, and we just want to have a mess with them. But an open house is not, hey, it's Saturday morning, or we do them Saturday and Sunday. Saturday morning or Sunday morning, I think I'll have an open house today. That's not an effective open house. That's going to waste your time and your seller's time. Open houses should minimum, for Saturday, we start on Monday. For Sunday, we start on Tuesday. We start marketing. We start sending out emails. We put social media marketing out there for multiple platforms, advertising the open house. We're sending out to everybody in our database. We're also anybody that's searching in our database, homes in that match that house. We're sending it to them in the open house. We're putting up signs the day before, directional signs. We're putting up coming open house on Saturday from this time to this time in the front yard. We have a sign for that. Day before the open house, we're knocking doors. We're going to hit minimum of 20, if not 50 homes around that house. Simple, easy script is we have a flyer with no price on it. Hey, we're holding open house over either down the street or whatever street it's on. We're holding open house. Love for you to stop by and take a look at it. 1 in 10, or National Association, sorry, it's been a while since I've done open house. I remember the script again. 1 in 10, National Association of Realtors says 1 in 10 people know somebody that wants to move by them. Do you know anybody that wants to move to the neighborhood? Nope, don't want to know anybody. Great. I'd love to see you there. I'm not ashamed. If they have little kids that come to the door, I tell them I have cookies. The goal is to drive as much traffic to the open house for 2 reasons. 1, you might find a buyer, but 2, if you have 8, 9 sets of neighbors at the house and a buyer comes in, does the buyer know their neighbors or does the buyer think they're other buyers? Drives up anticipation, drives up want, need. Like I said, you don't have to do it right now in this market, but in a normal market, you have 4 or 5 neighbors that are just looky-loos. Buyers don't know that. They think these are all interested buyers.
Are all your flyers without a price on it to get people to the open house to figure out what the price is?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Or to at least ask questions. A lot of times Gene Rivers, he's out of Florida. What is it? I just want to invite you to my open house, give him a flyer. He walks away. Well, a lot of times, and we've done that too, they'll call you back because there's no price on it. So they'll call you back and they'll start the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So get a way for them to interact or engage. And that's one way. We have 3 different ways. When we have our open house, we have 3 different ways for them to sign up. We have a podium with an iPad that they can sign in when they walk right through the door. We have a sign-in sheet in another room, but we also give them we have a mini clipboard that has 4 questions on it. It says, what do you think of the outside? What do you think of the inside? What's your favorite thing about the outside? What's your favorite thing about the inside? And at the bottom, we have a drawing. We hand it to everybody as they walk through the door and say, we'd love for you to give us some feedback so we can tell the clients how the open house went. And that one right there, about 90% of the time, they'll fill out the whole thing, plus give us the name, address, and everything. So
What do you have for the raffle?
It says on the sheet, and it's like $10 gift card, Starbucks $10 or Jamba Juice. We have like 4 different things on there, and they just circle whichever one they want. And usually, unless we have a big number, everybody wins.
Now, when you're door knocking with your flyers, if people aren't answering the door, what do you do with those flyers? Are you sort of sticking them in between the door and the door frame?
Nope, I don't leave them. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when people leave stuff on my front porch, so I don't do it.
Same with door. So is that why you wouldn't use a door hanger?
If it's a door hanger, I think that's different. But like just the flyer, I won't leave. If we've done door hangers, and we do, yeah, because I mean they're specifically meant to hang on doors, so I'm all right with that. But just leaving the piece of paper, no, I won't do it.
Okay.
We don't technically. I'm not soliciting because I'm not selling them anything, but we don't hit no soliciting just because I don't want to argue with them. I don't got time. I mean, technically we could because we're not selling nothing, but most of the people that have the no soliciting sign don't even realize the law. They think they have a sign that says no soliciting, nobody's allowed to knock on their door ever again. But that's not how that works. But so yeah, just be upfront with them. I mean, and the same thing too is we've used other flyers that have said things like, you may not be interested in buying in the neighborhood. But like I talked about earlier, the more people we get to the open house, the more perceived and will help drive the price up, which in turn will cause your house price to go up. We've used different ploys to try to get people there from within the neighborhood. So that's actually the best one that works is if the kids answer the door and you tell them you got cookies. Because then all of a sudden you see the mom with the 3 kids because they want cookies. So prepare for your open house. I heard somebody on here say they were asking around their office for open houses. I like that. One of my pet peeves in our office is when somebody puts on our private Facebook page, who has an open house I can hold? I'll let you hold an open house, but I'm not going to give you the good one because we're taking that one. What I tell everybody to do is go within the MLS, search your office, find the house and the price point in the area you want to sell houses in and ask to hold that house open. Be specific, be intentional. Don't take, the 350 cash only because it's got 3 walls and the 4th one's not there house that an agent's gonna say, sure, you can hold that open. Go get the house you want in the area you want to hold open. Be intentional about that. Look at areas. We had one listing that was around 4 schools. So we held that thing open almost every day from 3 to 6 during the school year on the weekdays. We didn't do weekends on that one. The foot traffic was not there in the weekends. So kind of look at those things too. You can do weekday open houses, especially in this market. You're gonna get lots of people, but just if it's by a busy road, if it's by school, if it's by something where there's gonna be a lot of traffic. If you're by a big, if you're have a house over by Nike, why not hold it the weekdays near the campus? Hold it on a weekday from 4 to 7. You're gonna get a lot more traffic than you are on a Saturday or Sunday. So just some ideas. So here is, let's see. We're gonna watch a video. Now, those of you who know our fearless leader, Chris Juarez, this is what Chris used to look like many, many moons ago. So, whoops, I didn't do that right, did I? Let's see, share sound. All right.
I'm here to tell you the 5 steps to holding an effective open house.
Thumbs up. Can everybody hear it?
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Chris Suarez, and I'm here to tell you the 5 steps to holding an effective open house. Step 1, strategically select the home you want to hold open. Choose a home that gives you the greatest potential to have buyers and sellers find you. This might be a home that is in a great traffic pattern, whether that be car traffic or people walking by in walkable neighborhoods in your community. Select a home around a local event where neighbors or even out-of-town people might be stopping in. Step 2 of holding an effective open house is advertising and marketing. Marketing begins a week in advance of any open house you might hold open. Begin by posting internet ads a week before. Get a sign in the yard and let neighbors and passerbys know that the home will be open later in the week. Remember to contact both by phone and email any internet leads or phone calls you've received on that listing prior to the open house. Don't forget to make 50 calls around the home prior to the open house and door knock, a radius of about 2 or 3 blocks. Step 3, know your script. Know what you're going to say to greet the visitor. Know what questions you're going to ask while they're in the home. One of the greatest first lines you could use is, "Thanks for stopping in to tour my open house. Are you one of the neighbors or are you out shopping for a home today?" Immediately you'll know if you're dealing with a potential buyer or a potential seller. Step 4 is keep the right mindset and prepare. Remember, open houses are lead generation activities, so enter with the mindset of a top lead generator. Prepare yourself with comparable properties, market research, at least 2 or 3 other homes that you could potentially show should the opportunity arise. And step 5, always follow up with every lead that comes through that door. Call them, email them, write thank you notes that same day. A simple follow-up script to use directly after an open house goes like this. "Thanks for stopping into my open house this morning. It was great to meet you. I did a little bit of digging in the office after we met and after the open house and found 3 other properties that I think really fit your search criteria. I know the home that we saw this morning wasn't quite perfect, but these 3 have some real potential. We could get into them tomorrow at 4 or at 6, which would work better for you." Great, let's meet at my office and we can go from there. My biggest aha when doing open houses is remembering open houses are not a technique to keep current sellers happy. In reality, open houses are great lead generation tools to connect with potential future buyers and sellers. By using effective scripts and systems leading up to the open house and great follow-up techniques after the open house, you'll build a Met database of future buyers and sellers. Thanks for watching KW Connect and make it a great day.
He looks like just a baby there. Let's see where we are. There we go. So we kind of talked about some of those things, items are also. Another thing is I'm sure you're all doing it because it's a good idea too. Are you asking if they have, or they're working with an agent? If they say yes, great. What's their name? I'll follow up and let them know you were here. If they can't come up with a name, they're lying. If they stumble to come up with a name, they're probably still lying. And if, like in our area, if they just say, if they don't have an agent, they usually say Gladys Plum is the top agent in our area. So you say, oh, just Gladys. And so it's hard to tell, but if they can't come up with a name, they're probably not working with an agent. So most people can come up with their agent's name. But yeah, you should always ask. Any questions about open houses? I mean, we kind of talked about all that stuff already. Get the word out, door knocking, leveraging the internet, social media, put it all out there to as many places you could find ahead of time so that you're not wasting your time. It is a major lead generation tool. I tell all new agents in our office when they ask whether they should start, hold open houses.
What's your follow-up script? If they say, they tell you they're working with an agent and then they can't come up with a name, you caught them in a lie. How do you?
I just keep pushing it then. If they say, no, I'm working with, Joe Schmo, and I'm like, okay, I know Joe Schmo. Okay, great. Look around the house. Let me know if you have any questions.
But if they say like, oh, well, actually, I don't have anybody, like you catch them in a lie, that seems awkward.
We don't go the, aha, gotcha. You know what I mean? But you just file that away. Okay, they probably don't have an agent. I'm going to keep asking more questions. I'm going to keep digging in. If they say, no, I'm working with Joe Schmo agent, I know that from most agents in town I know. So it's a Joe Schmo agent. Okay, great. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll follow up with them. Let them know you were here. And that's pretty much it. But like I said, if I don't think they're being truthful or honest and they're not giving me, they can't give an agent's name, I'll just keep digging like I normally would for a lead.
How do you think you are most effective at differentiating yourself from other agents when you kind of initially meet people?
How do I think of this? Good question.
Just being straight, you seem like you're very straightforward and kind of unpretentious.
I'm going to say, I think how I differentiate from other agents is I am very straightforward, but I got a lot of experience and I'm a straight shooter. I just am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't list houses. If I think it's overpriced, I'm not going to list it. I mean, I just won't. I turn clients down. I do things like that, and I'm very upfront, blunt, and honest. Sometimes to my detriment, but yeah. So
for all of us that are new, how do you think that we, and all of us have different abilities, styles,
Mm-hmm.
but what do you think is a kind of a way to try to figure out how you can differentiate yourself, knowing that people are at some point going to figure out that you're new?
The one of the things I was told when I was new that I used quite a bit was, I tell them when I was new, well, I'm hungrier. You can say, if you're going up against me, you could easily say, Sean, he's, they sell, 6, 7, 8 homes a month. They don't care about your listing as much as I do, because I want to get this done. I'm new. I need this. Or the flip side, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm out for your best interest. As the experienced agent, I'm going to say, I'm out for your best interest because I don't have to have that house closed this month. I need to know what's best for you, because I don't have what we refer to as commission breath. I don't need that check right now. So there's two sides to it. It's a matter of what angle you come from. And the angle as a new person I would come from would be, I'm hungry. I need this. I want to make this work. This is my new business. I'm going to work hard for you. And that's what people want. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're paying us a heck of a lot of money for a pretty easy process once you get it down. And so they want to know you're working hard. I mean, everything in my world's preset, and I just click buttons and do stuff because I've been doing this long enough. So it's pretty easy once you get it down. But like I said, they're paying us a lot of money. And they want to feel like we're working for it. So if you're upfront and say, I'm going to work for it, this is what I'm going to do. And like I said, it goes back to that 14-point plan. Come up with a plan. This is what I'm going to do to sell your house, and then do it. Don't deviate. Don't say, I forgot that one. Oh, I didn't do that. Stay on it. Oh. So let's see, people ask in chat. Oh, okay, there you go. All right. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Okay. But yeah, just go for it. Go get them. It talks on here about like Twitter and stuff like that. I know basics about social media. I actually have people that I pay to do that for me. So if you know about that kind of stuff, they say it's good. It seems to work. So when community websites, we're seeing a lot more of those on like Facebook and things like that. Even like what's the new Clubhouse things? You're seeing these community things being set up. Get involved in those. I was told a long time ago to steer away from being like part of an HOA or anything like that, because then you become a bad guy to half the neighborhood. But get involved in things like that if you want to start really learning neighborhoods and learning what's going on and listing houses. I think that's. Any other questions about open houses and things like that?
I know you recommended searching for coming soon or new listings that would be in the price range of this kind of house that you want to sell, and trying to get an open house for that. How early is too early to go about doing that?
As in, like, how early, like days on market, or like in the week? Which
I just mean like 2 weeks ahead of time. Is that what or a week ahead of time? Are you're shooting for? Is that what? Go ahead.
In a traditional market, I'm shooting for a week ahead of time. In this current market, you literally can go just throw a sign in the yard the day of, and you're probably going to get enough traffic to make it worth your time. Traditional market, like I said, if we're holding it open on Saturday, we're going to start Monday. If we're opening it up, and so I'm going to find one. If it's not ours, if it's somebody else, usually not very often anymore do we hold other people's houses, but we have once in a while. I mean, I had one that I held another agent office house for him because I was talking to and nurturing 3 other houses within a block of it. So I said, hey, can I hold your house listing open? And I went and knocked all those doors and took 2 of the 3 listings eventually. So things like that. So for tradition, we just have our own. So we have a cadence and everything that we start Monday or Tuesday and we start marketing it out. Like I said, in this current market, I would throw a sign in the yard the day. If we were going to do one tomorrow, if we were doing on Saturday, I would throw my sign in the yard that says open Saturday with the time frame I'd be there and do it on Friday afternoon. And I would feel very comfortable to be worth my time. I'd have enough people. I mean, we're seeing 60, 70 people at open houses right now in this area.
And that week gives people enough time to let the family know, hey, you'll need to be out of the house.
Yep.
All that good stuff. Okay.
Yep. Most sellers are, unless they're worried about COVID, most sellers are like, yeah, no problem. I want my house sold. I mean, sellers aren't going to be the problem most of the time. They want their house sold, so they're going to let you do whatever needs to be done. And if they've prepped them right we do open houses, we tell people right off the bat, in a normal market, we do open houses. This is part of our process. So we, most certainly the first weekend that it's on the market, if not subsequent weekends, we are going to be holding open. That's part of what you're paying us for. So we're going to do it.
Do you find that in this, I just toured a house that I'm going to list and it's a tenant, there's a tenant in it and I just went through it and it's a mess. And so they're like, oh, you can do an open house. But I honestly, the pictures that we have are before they moved in. They're gorgeous. It's what the house will look like when all of their, so much crap. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on how much of a deficit or how much of a disadvantage are we going to be at if we just don't, I think holding an open house is going to be a problem. It's going to we'll probably lose money on the deal.
I've never held tenant occupied opens.
Okay, cool.
I just never have.
No.
They're in no way, unless they're like a family member, there's no way they're going to have it and have it show in the best light that you want it to be shown and the seller wants to be shown as a tenant because they just don't care as much. They don't have any skin in the game. And most likely they're probably angry. Even if they're being nice and cheerful to you, they're probably angry because their house is getting sold out from underneath them.
Yeah. Okay.
Can they afford to buy it? Have you asked them?
We did ask them and they don't want to live in the neighborhood and it only has 1 bathroom. It's in Southeast off Holgate, but it only has 1 bathroom. That was kind of the kicker. They've got little kids. We did offer it to them though.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just never have. So I would, from my perspective, I'd tell you no, not to do it. It's just,
that was my gut. I was like, there's absolutely no way. I would be embarrassed and I think we would lose money. People would walk through it and they'd be like, no.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Page 21, if nobody else, moving on from open houses, anybody else got any other open house questions?
I have one. If a buyer comes through an open house and asks if the owners have problems with the neighbors, how do you politely tell them that no, like it's none of our business kind of thing? Because you can't speak poorly of the neighborhood.
Yeah. My response would be, honestly, I have no idea. I didn't ask.
Okay.
I tell just like that. Honestly, I don't know. I didn't even ask. They've been great since I've been here the last hour.
Great.
I use humor a lot, so that'd probably be some kind of along the lines of my response. That goes along the lines of, has somebody died in this house? Are we allowed to disclose that? Not unless they died of a communicable disease. So if you don't want to disclose it because your seller could sue you if for some reason the house doesn't sell, and they would win because we're not allowed to tell them that. What are the crime rates in the neighborhood? Are we allowed to tell people that?
It's public knowledge.
It is, but we're not allowed to tell them that. It goes back to redlining and all that great stuff that we learned about in real estate school.
Yeah.
So you have to refer them back to the local police department. Now, I can tell them about schools. I can tell them all about schools. And the flip side is there usually are not great schools in bad neighborhoods. These are good schools.
Right.
So, yeah, you will get questions like that. I generally, if I have buyers and they say, do you think somebody died in this house? And the house is like older than 1940s. I said, yeah, chances are somebody probably did at some point in time. This house has been around. Back in the 40s, people died at home. It's just, we don't see that as much anymore, but we're not allowed to tell them specifics. My background is law enforcement and corrections. I can tell you several houses in my neighborhood, my area that have had people die in them. I've been, I've been there in the scenes, but we're not allowed to disclose that.
Have you had any issues with theft? One of the open houses I was at this week, I was at an open house this weekend that literally there was like 14 people in there once, like bumping into each other. The dude was not doing anything for COVID. And the house was not cleaned up very good either. So I'm curious if you ever had issues with theft. Like I could have totally just taken some books or something off the counter and he wouldn't have noticed at all.
Knocking on wood, never have we had a problem. Do we hear about it? Yeah, you hear about it all the time. We have not that I've ever had reported to me from my clients that we've had a problem. We do tell them ahead of time, make sure you put jewelry, make sure you put medication, make sure you put any firearms or any weapons away. Even just in general, when we list the house, we tell them all, we give them this list of things that, just make sure these are all put away. There's no reason for them to be out. Oh. Down he went. I don't know if y'all saw that. I saw it. Okay, any other open house questions?
And in today's, with protocols the way they are, we are letting one group in at a time. I know Michaela said that person wasn't, but that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's why we're not doing them right now, is to follow the guidelines, and you're to follow compliance with what our office wants and what the state wants. Is you would have one person at a time. You're required to lock the door behind them so nobody else can come in. You have to wipe down everything they touch prior to them coming out. You have to take down their information for contact tracing, and you have to have lined out on the sidewalk 6 feet spacing for people to stand in line to wait. So once they come out, you have to close the door, you have to clean, you have to let the next group in to follow the rules.
Of the 13 I went to this weekend, only 2 people were regulating who went in, and they didn't care about the line outside. People were just in line, and there was no cleaning and did anything.
Yeah. So, and we're seeing a lot of that down here too. I mean, it's what your preference is, what your feelings are and beliefs on COVID and all that great stuff. I mean, that's a whole different discussion.
Can you get in trouble? Like, can those agents, I mean, is there some sort of like regulation system? Like,
well, you're working, and if OSHA showed up, technically you probably could, but I don't know for sure. I know within the office environment you are. It's rules that have been put out there. I think more than likely what would happen is your office would get a talking to more than you would. And this is my belief. Do I know for sure? I don't. But I believe that the office would get the call because it's not just like bars and restaurants right now. It's not OSHA or anybody walking in and catching them. It's somebody calling and telling on them.
yeah.
And that's how people are getting fined and in trouble.
What
and
about
stuff
like with
that.
NAR? Is there like, can you lose your license or something for ethics issues?
I haven't heard about it.
Okay.
So I mean, it takes quite a bit for NAR to pull your license. So I would think you would most certainly get 1 or 2 slaps or 3 slaps on the hand if that truly is the case. But you never know.
Okay.
I don't have a good answer on that one.
It's only bartenders that will lose their license. 'Cause I work at a bar. For actual people, because like I work at a gentleman's club, independent contractors and stuff only get a $40,000 fine if you get caught for not following the regulations of what they ask you to do. But it's only bartenders that I've heard, and from OLCC and OSHA I've spoke to, that will lose their license. The bar itself will get fined, most likely even get their liquor order taken away. So if anything, I would expect our office to be fined or talked to.
Yeah, I would assume that's probably where they go. The office. I know my wife, her uncle is the owner of the courthouse of the clubs here in Salem, and he stayed open this whole time, and he's got like $250,000 in fines racked up so far, and he just is refusing to pay them. So we'll see how that all turns out. That's a different topic down a different road. Okay, any more open house questions beyond that? This next section is our bread and butter. Page 21, communication with sellers. We promise all of our clients, white glove, Ritz-Carlton type service, and we follow through with it. Communication is the key. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, that asked me about, how do you differentiate yourself? Most agents throw signs in the yard and they disappear until an offer comes in or expired, and they're calling to beg to have it extended. We're talking to them all the time. And as long as you set that expectation of this is what we're going to do. I mean, the truth over here on page 23 says the truth. an excellent customer experience will set you apart. If I say I'm going to call them, you call them. You just do it. We all of our communication is I email every Monday morning. I follow up from everything that went on over the weekend. All showing or for the week, all showings, all feedback, and I just real simple and easy. We use showing time. I just copy and paste the feedback from the agent into the email. So it's not no sugarcoat, no nothing. This is what they said. I send that email out every Monday. My admin, Kim, my wife, she follows up with them every Wednesday, checking in. More of the, less of the real estate, more of the, hey, how you doing? What you need from us? How's everything going? And then I follow up with a phone call on Friday. So, and we do that every week to every listing. That's part of our cadence. That's part of how we do. Make sure you, one of the things we also, let me backtrack there a little bit. We don't always do phone calls because we ask them how they prefer to be communicated with at the beginning. And if they hate phone calls and want text, those phone calls will turn into texts. But we still do them. So they're still contacted Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week that they're listed with us. And it's key to, I believe, to they're never feeling stressed because there's never a lack of what's going to happen next. Because we'll tell them in each communication, this is what's going to happen next. Okay, your house is on the market. Great. We're having showings this weekend. We got this many lined up so far. We got this going on. Whatever's happening. Next time you hear from us, we'll either be with an offer or Monday with our weekly follow-up email. Then on the email, tell them, great. Kim will be in touch with you on Wednesday to just check in. And as long as you're basically connecting the dots and letting them know and you're following through, you will never have a bad transaction. Now, will there be bumps in the road? That's one of the things we tell them up front. There is no perfect transaction. There's always going to be bumps because people are involved. Things happen. But as long as they know you're trying to communicate and you're communicating with them systematically, you can get through those much easier. Don't ever guess at an answer. This is a side topic. Don't ever guess at an answer. Tell them you don't know, especially being new. Just flat out tell them, I don't know, but I will find you the answer and find it within the day and get it back to them. If it's late at night, call them in the morning with it. But don't try to guess an answer. Tell them straight up, I don't know. I just don't, but I will, and I'll get back to you. People appreciate that a lot more. One of your new favorite hobbies is going to be keeping a log, keeping track of all communication. And every time you talk with clients, it's a pain, it sucks, but it will save you farther on down the line. One, to remember things, because I can't remember every client's kid's name, dog's name and stuff, but if on almost all of our database, that information is there because we've slowly added in over time. So I call them, so you have a client that you've been working with, either seller or buyer, just in general, and you found out their dog's name 2 months ago or whatever, and you put it in your database. You're on the phone talking with them and you say, and you hear the dog barking in the background, hey, is that how is whatever the dog's name, Fido, doing? Or how is that Fido or whatever? You know how genuine that makes you seem and sound because you remember the dog's name? Same thing with kids. Make sure you know all the kids' names. When I would show houses, I spend more time playing with the kids than I let the parents look at the house. I'll play with the kids. I enjoy the kids more. Same thing with signings. There's tons of photos of me floating around with babies on my lap at signing tables, the title and things like playing with toys on the floor with kids and stuff like that. Because I'm just there to be there at the signing and the kids usually in the way. So we're usually on the floor playing with toys while they're signing paperwork. The little things. Like I said, that was a tangent. That's on the side. The big one I hear a lot is on page 22. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one down. Never talk down. I hear other agents communicate with their clients, and it drives me crazy sometimes. Be a partner in this process. We're in this together. Buyers want to buy houses. Sellers want to sell houses. We as agents don't need to get in the way. Your opinions, how you want things done, doesn't really matter. You're just here to facilitate paperwork and make sure everybody's legal. Technically, that's what we do. We facilitate paperwork and we make sure everybody keeps legal and nobody's taken advantage of. Doesn't get much fancier than that. So make sure you're professional and good communicator with your people and be a partner in this whole process. So. Customer experience, always under promise and over deliver, very much so. We talked about that. It says communicate twice a week or until a seller asks you to slow down. Yeah, we've had sellers tell us you don't need to call me contact me 3 times a week. If they say that, great, we'll cut it back to usually just the email once a week. But until they say that, they're getting 3 times a week from us. So. Be solution oriented. We talked a little bit kind of stuff like that. Come up with it. Make sure you're going to hit the same objections over and over again in real estate. There's no fancy new objections somebody's coming up with. They're all the same. So learn the answers you want to use to those responses. And if you don't have answers, like I said before, tell them you don't know, but you will find out for them. Any questions about that? Communication. To me, it seems basic, but a lot of times it's missed. Always communicate. All right, we got another video. Oh wait, somebody had a question. Chat, what's that? First question: how many offers are we're actually, my buyer's agent right now she's been pretty strong. We got another agent starting next week, but she is about, let's see, she put in 3 this weekend, and so far she's 2 for 3. She's been doing this a while and she's pretty aggressive. So on average in the market, we're seeing like everywhere else, we're seeing 6, 7, 8, 9 tries and people. And a lot of these, and all these buyers she's working with, these are not the first offers they put in either. But this weekend she did pretty good. So hope that answers your question. It's tough fighting out there. I'm glad I hardly work with buyers anymore. Let's see, the WOW experience.
As someone who works with a lot of listings and not buyers, what are the best offers that you see coming in? What are the characteristics that make the strongest offers? And, you know, is there anything you can recommend to us in terms of how to write the best offer?
You know, the things that are getting through and you should always be calling, if you're not already, before you put the offer in, calling and seeing what they want, what they need. One of the things I used to always call and ask, and my buyer's agent does it now too, is besides price, what does your clients need? They may need, you may find out they need a long close. They may need 4 or 5 days of possession instead of 3. You know, they just don't want to pay closing costs. I mean, so call and ask that question. Some agents will just tell you, just write me an offer. Some will actually sit there and talk to you and give you the information that you need. But at that point, the things that are getting through are obviously right now it's above ask. It's just any offer that comes in below at or below ask are just not getting considered right now. Fact of life. The big part is covering that difference, covering the gap, the appraisal gap. That's been the big difference on a lot of them.
You're saying that you're saying
there.
the buyer is willing to cover the appraisal gap?
Yep, having the buyer pay the appraisal gap. Like the one that was just 40,000 over, they were going to cover the whole difference. Appraisal came in right at their offer, but they were going to cover the difference, which I have no idea how that appraisal came in at offer, but that's a whole different story. So that, and limited repairs. I mean, if none, you know, as is or no repairs. I mean, I've been doing this long enough that we'll certainly talk through some major items that come up and we'll figure out an answer, because, you know, some things sellers just have to do to sell houses because no other buyer is going to take it without these things being done. So those kind of items we can discuss and we can work through. But otherwise, just as long as, you know, sellers right now don't want to be nickels and dimes for when it comes to like repairs. So if you're up front at the beginning saying, you know, we're not going to ask for anything major or anything minor. If something major comes up, you know, we'll have to talk about it. But
and are you going to ask before you include an escalation clause, or is that something you would just go ahead and put in anyway?
We're seeing some. We're not seeing a lot of them. I'm not a big fan of escalation clauses, just because as a buyer's agent, because I feel like I'm out of control. Other people are dictating what we're doing, and so, but we are seeing them, and they're not all winning because it depends. I mean, it all depends what you're escalating up to. If you're going to escalate up, you know, 60,000 over list, and I think we listed it high to start with, because everything seems high to me right now. but you're not going to guarantee that difference. What good is that 60,000? You're just trying to bid. You're just trying to win the bid. But if we have concerns about it meeting appraisal, that 60,000 means nothing to my seller, and that's what I'll tell them.
That was going to be my question too about the escalation clause and asking for permission. So you're saying sometimes people write it in guaranteeing that they will meet it, and other times it's just so that they can stay in the bidding process?
Yes, like I said, I mean, if I'm gonna have two offers, if I have two offers sitting in front of me and they're both 40,000 over list, and one has and they're both escalation clause, we had their pretty much the exact same offers. I mean, there was no real difference. I think there was a $5,000 difference, but then the one that had 5,000 more won 5,000 in concession. So I mean, they were basically the same offer. All dates and everything were the same. One guaranteed the difference of if the appraisal came in low. Did I think the appraisal was going to come in low on that one? No, but my fiduciary duty is to protect my client. So I told my client, that's the best one. For some reason, we have a random appraiser that brings in this low appraisal. They're going to cover the difference. So, I mean, once again, we're the fiduciary, and our job is to put their financial interests ahead of your own. And so, doesn't mean the house is going to sell right then and there. You know, the highest price doesn't always the best offer. It's just not. And we had one time, we had a listing where our clients took the offer that was $1,000 less than the highest offer because our sellers were big Star Wars people, had Star Wars stuff. Their whole basement was a game room downstairs with video games. Well, the buyers wrote a letter and put Star Wars posters on the letter and superposed their photos on the Star Wars people. And my clients were like, these are our people, even though it wasn't the best offer. And they got the house. So, I mean, there's little things. Letters, we're seeing NRA is now coming out and saying, or pushing back on letters, no letters due to fair housing.
Yeah, I was going to ask, that was the last instruction we had heard from we're in Bend. They had told us that pretty much no more love letters.
Yeah, NRA is pushing back on that now. They're the ones saying that that needs to stop because of fair housing and stuff like that. I traditionally would never take a letter with photos. I'd send it back to the agents, they remove the photos. I won't do it. Because, you know, who knows? I mean, they didn't take my offer because of this. They accepted their offer because of, you know, so we would take letters, but now like I said, the NRA is pushing back on that, saying no. They're saying it's not a good idea. We haven't had anything in our office say no yet, but I think it's coming. It feels like it is coming down the pipe from everybody. So yeah, so you got to come up with these other little things. Find out the little stuff. When you're walking the house, look around the house. Find ways you can connect your client with the seller in the offer. I know I was showing one to my oldest son and his wife, and ran across some photos on a wall of baseball photos. My oldest son, he's 28. He played college baseball, and my middle son, he played high school baseball and passed on college and didn't want to go to college, so but he got offered to play college baseball. When we were walking the house, there were baseball photos, and I recognized the kid in the photos. My kids played at West Salem. This kid played at South Salem. Well, he played against my middle son. My oldest son had coached him because once my son got done playing baseball, he became a college coach, and he'd coached him in some camps. So we used that leverage. We knew the family. We knew them all, the family, the mom, the dad. So we were using that in letters and all sorts of things. We were trying to work every angle. So look around, see if there's angles you can work. Just don't take it at face value. I mean, if you see, they went to. I mean, I'm an Oregon guy. They went to Oregon. Hey, I see an Oregon diploma. Hey, let's see if I can figure out a way to get that in there. Let's see if I can figure out a way to make a connection. So.
I don't want to get too off topic, but can you help me understand why sellers are so anti-paying closing costs right now? Because my understanding is that they just get the money and they're still netting the same. Like, why do they care if they have to help pay the cover that at all?
I'm going to say if you're right on top of that and it's staying the same, their agent's not explaining it well to them. That's the problem. If they're still going to net the same. Now, if it's coming off the top and they're going to get less, that's why. I mean, when I first started in real estate, sellers never pay closing costs. Just never happened. Wasn't a thought. Wasn't even going to happen. Then when 08 and 09 hit, as a seller, you were not going to sell a house unless you were going to pay closing costs, because we had the complete opposite. We had here in Salem area, we had 18 months of inventory at that time.
Oh.
That's months. we had 27 listings for every one buyer, you know, kind of idea. And so sellers had to start paying closing costs. We see it about 50-50 now, the requests and stuff. But I mean, if the numbers equal out to the same, then it's an agent not explaining it well on the sell end. If it's, you know, you're both 300,000 and you're asking for 10,000 in closing costs, they're going to be short 10,000. It's going to be 10,000
Right.
less.
Okay,
So
but
I mean,
I've just been hearing across like a blanket statement, like don't ask for closing costs. But it seems like, I mean, if you're netting the
yeah.
same, then you're saying that you can ask, you just need to make sure you up your offer to account for it.
Yeah, but the other side of that is too, with the offers coming in so high now, if you're not going to guarantee the appraisal gap and you get up this high, you're just not, people are going to take it as a realistic offer.
Okay.
Closing costs are hard right now. They are. We're not seeing a lot of them. I mean,
Just so that I understand what Michaela is saying, that would be where the buyer is saying, you know, is folding the closing costs basically into their loan, increasing the offer and then paying the closing costs as a part of the mortgage. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. And traditionally, that's the way we do it. You know, you go in, you be the only offer, and you know they're offering 300,000 for the house. I need 10,000 closing. We'll offer them 310, and they'll pay my closing costs. Everybody's happy. They got their 300,000. But it's such a wild card right now with the prices going so high. If you go to so if everybody's 30,000 over and you come in 40,000 over with that 10,000 closing costs, sure they're still netting the same, but is it realistic that appraisal is going to come in at 40? And as a listing agent, I'm going to be like, I don't want to run the risk unless they're going to guarantee that 40 difference. But if you're guaranteeing it, you shouldn't have to pay the closing costs. You wouldn't be asking us to pay closing costs. So it's tough. It is. I know Danny, my agent, she's working with a bunch of USDA buyers right now, and that they need closing costs, and it's tough. Like I said, she got one of them this weekend, so that was good. But
if you had 3 appraisals done on a house, how much of difference do you think that there would be?
2 will be pretty close. Another one's probably going to be $15,000 to $20,000 difference. That's just it's. I can pretty much, for the most part, I can tell you within $1,500 when appraisal is going to come in back, because we do the same thing appraisers do. We just didn't go to college. Well, I went to college, but not for this, not for appraisals. But they're going to, the appraisal system, I personally believe, is still broken. It was broken in 08. That's what caused half the problems. State income loans and appraisers, and you used to be able to pick your appraiser. I want this appraiser. Well, if you were coming in low, people would stop picking you as an appraiser. So it was a broken system. Well, then they switched to the AMC now, where it's a clearinghouse, and they go there and they pick up the appraisals. Well, they still get a copy of the offer before they go out. So they know what the offer is before they go out and make this appraisal. I personally think it should be blind. Go do the appraisal. Here's the address. Then we'll give you the offer. You know, kind of idea, but I don't get a vote in that. But so it's amazing. They'll come in, you know, unless it's just completely way over top, they're usually within 500 to 1,500 above or 500 below what our list prices are right now. And every once in a while, you'll get one appraiser that's just poof way out there. I can name him, but I won't do that.
Can you explain a little bit about people making offers, waiving the inspection, even though they're still having an inspection made, so that they can pull out? Is that correct?
Well, if they're waiving the inspection period, they don't have that out.
Okay.
And that's what you're seeing a lot of. They're still having the inspection for information purposes. And so that's basically like our clients, when they agree to do, that's what they want to do. They're having a list of what they need to fix when they buy the house, is all they're doing. But if they're waiving the inspection period, they waive that out is out, it's gone. And so they don't have that inspection period out. You may come up with some stuff that's just like, there's no way it's going to pass an appraisal, things like that. But in generally, we're only doing that on houses that we, for the best of our knowledge and experience, we're looking at going, okay, this will be all right. I mean, if we go to that house that has 3 walls and the 4th one's missing, yeah, we're not doing that on that house. I mean, it's just, yeah, that ain't going to happen. But if it's a newer home put together, well taken care of, and you can see everything, we'll waive it. And even still, I mean, once you get sellers into contract, even though you waived appraisal or waived inspection and you have the inspection period, or you still have the inspection, there's some things we need to we're still negotiating things. It's still happening. There's very rarely is it flat out, no repairs at all. We're not asking for nothing. There's some things that pop up, and we're usually having discussions about, hey, we need to make this right. We need to figure this out. And the price may change in the house a little bit. Things happen, but it's not very rarely just 100% no inspections, everything's done.
Just to bookend what you were talking about with Michaela before, the reason if you're offering 340 and everyone else is offering 330 and the house doesn't and only appraises for 330, your buyer needs to have that 10,000 liquid on hand immediately to be able to make that deal work. And if they had that 10,000, they would have just paid the closing costs to begin with. That's the philosophy. That's the understanding, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is exactly right. My PB says to save them until after they get the house. Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Brody, I like that idea. Saving the letters and give it to them after the house. Okay, we got another video here. Hold on, let me bring that one in. The wow experience. Oops, I did that wrong. Hold on. Oh, no, I did do it right.
Wow experience.
You guys hear it?
Once their home's listed, how I continue on with that wow experience, I just communicate with them almost every other day. And that communication is either by phone. Hi, I'm Josh Bath, and I'm here to talk to you about creating a wow experience with your clients. Creating that wow experience with your clients starts right from the initial interview. When you're sitting down with them and you're listening to them and you're asking them good questions, that's really what sets you apart from the rest of the agents that just go in there and talk. The mindset should be not what am I going to ask them next before they've even finished their sentence with you. The mindset should be, what are you saying to me? A couple things that I do to establish a really good wow experience for my clients. I tell them that a photographer is going to contact them. I tell them that a home stager is going to contact them. And after that's done, I follow up with them. And I ask them, so how was your experience with my photographer? Now, I already know that the photographer I've chosen is incredible, and they're going to deliver great service the way I deliver great service, except I get to use the service they use as an extension for the energy I'm creating with them in that wow experience. Once their home's listed, how I continue on with that wow experience, I just communicate with them almost every other day. And that communication is either by phone, by text, or a follow-up on an email. The advice I would give you if you're looking for a place to begin, I'd sit down with a notepad, of paper, in a quiet place, and just start writing out naturally in your mind everything that you do from the moment you've sat in their living room to the moment you've gone back to the office and handed the file to your assistant. How are you communicating with them? What are you doing? These are all incredible steps to communicate back to your seller because normally they don't know what's going on. And if you're telling them what you're doing, you're helping them remove some of that fear and building confidence and trust in you, which is exactly what creates that wow experience. For people thinking that they need to do something big and as a result never doing anything at all, go back to small. It's not about being over the top and big. Sometimes wow is just following up with them when you said you were going to follow up with them. Or it could just be as simple as paying attention to some of their needs, like they don't have time to cut the grass. Maybe you might hire someone to cut the grass. That'll blow their mind. And for you, you can hire a local neighborhood kid. That doesn't cost very much. Little things like that, though, go a long way for referral business and creating a customer for life and that wow experience.
Can you hear me?
I think you froze.
Michaela, I think you should take over.
We lost him.
Did.
His connection's been garbage the whole time. So, oh well. Be nice if it was a funnier frozen image, you know, when people are stuck like for 5 minutes or whatever. That's always fun. Well, how long do we give them?
That's a good question.
We lost you.
What are y'all's opinions on no prices on the flyers? I hate as a buyer, like walking around when there's no price on the sign. But I mean, I can just look it up, on Zillow, or, it would make me call the agent. So I suppose from an agent perspective, it probably is better to do no price, but
If you're encouraging
before
engagement.
you said that, I wouldn't have thought to do that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. I just hadn't thought about it before.
And depending on the price of the house, if it's like a higher end listing, maybe you create a landing page that they can go to where they have to put in a little information, and then they get access to the price, and then you can capture their address and email and phone number. I hadn't thought of it either though, Michaela.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if someone's a serious buyer, they aren't going to be turned off by the fact that it's not. But you might just get like, I don't know, I feel like the people walking in the neighborhood, they might, there's no price, and they'll just kind of forget about it. Whereas if they see a price, like, I might know somebody in this price range, I'm just curious if you might
Seems
lose
like it'd
those
be super
dog
annoying.
walkers. What?
I said, it seems like it would be super annoying, but it would force me to try to figure out what the price was.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were a neighbor.
I would actually go to the home to find out the price, because like, maybe you made a mistake. There's no price on this flyer. But
Yeah,
actually, in which that's the perfect moment for it too.
right.
I'm back.
Back?
Awesome.
Did you guys hear me that whole time? So I was talking to myself.
Nope.
All right. Sorry about that. My computer freaked out. Okay. So we got everybody? Oh, we still got everybody. Nice. Okay. So the WOW experience. I spend way less than a lot of people do when it comes to, okay, that totally got me off track now. When it comes to like lead generation, we don't spend a whole lot of money. We don't buy leads. We don't do anything like that. I spend about the same much as agents that do, but I spend it on people. We're always giving away gifts. We're always doing stuff. We're doing client care stuff. Every buyer, every seller, when we get under contract, they get flowers from us. We just do little things like that, and we do it nonstop all year long. We were big into client events. They've been kind of put on hold this last year, but we're ramping them back up. We're getting ready. We're just ordering flowers today. We're going to be delivering flowers to like 150 past clients here next week. We do pictures in the park. We have a photographer that comes out, and they get half an hour increments, and they get family photos on us. So we do a bunch of little things throughout the year. And actually the photos don't cost us a whole lot. It may seem like a big deal, but it's more time of us organizing it with the photographer than anything else. But so we want to stand out in that way. And we do a lot of past client and repeat client type work. So that seems like it's helped.
So for lead gen, are you at this point, you're exclusively working your database for referrals? That's all you're doing?
For the most part, I mean, we
Okay.
we still run some Facebook ads for our listings and stuff, because that's what our clients expect from us, and that's what we promise we're doing. And we get leads in that
Okay.
way. We run command ads for the same reason. We don't run ads to run ads. We run them for specific listings to sell.
Okay, awesome.
But
Cool,
we don't
thank
pay.
you.
We don't pay Zillow. We don't do any of that. We never have. None of that kind of stuff. Because you don't need to. I never have. I mean, my original first 2 years in real estate, my CRM was an Excel spreadsheet. And then I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the Edge. I don't even think it's around at all anymore. That was Keller Williams' original stab at a CRM. I was one of the beta testers for that. And then I've had a bunch of different CRMs, but we're use FirePoint now, and that's one we've been with for a while. But that's one of our biggest expenses right there. There's CM. Everything else, we just, like I said, business clients. I love giving out birthday gifts. I like give out kids and their birthdays and send them stuff, and it's more fun to me. And Amazon makes it so much easier too. Just Amazon it to them as a gift. So yeah, the WOW experience. Any questions about that part? Well, we're pretty much done. It's hard. We're supposed to practice the listing presentation. We're supposed to make phone calls, and all that stuff's kind of hard over Zoom. So any questions? Any of you guys don't know about, because we'll do some recall and recall after questions and ahas, but if you guys want to know about real estate, just not selling listings, but anything else? You do all know your job is to lead generate, not really sell houses, right? They've explained that so far.
In that vein, you said you're not doing Zillow ads and you're not, for the most part, paying for leads. Would you say that those like more general Facebook ads that aren't for a specific listing, that are just intended to capture client data, would you recommend things like that, or would you encourage us to put our energy into something else, lead gen wise?
I tell all the new agents in my office, if you want to lead gen, if you want to get all that started, do open houses and door knock. It's old school. It works. I mean, all it costs you maybe is a pair of shoes when it's all said and done. But
door knocking though, still, I mean, if you're lucky to open out, but I mean, like, people are so weird about COVID and stuff, and you knock on the door and then immediately step 6 feet back, and I mean, just.
I mean, it's hard to tell them. I'm a big guy. So I knock and I always step back because I can be intimidated if I'm right up at the door when people open the door. So even with COVID, we always knock the door, step back, give them their space. And all these things are not, I don't believe there's any one magic bullet in real estate. If you are door knocking around an open house, you're just not door knocking. You have the door knocking, you have your signs out, you have the open house going on. It's a totality of the whole. I know there's a lot of agents, we have a couple groups in office, they door knock neighborhoods and they haven't stopped, and they keep doing it. We'll door knock around for specific reasons, just not neighborhoods. Like if we know a neighborhood, we need a house, we'll go door knock, our whole team will go door knock a neighborhood. If we have a buyer that's looking for a specific house in that neighborhood, we can't find it. But in general, if you start stacking these things, okay, this week I'm holding an open house. Before that, I got my yard signs out saying I'm holding the open house. I'm knocking around that open house to introduce myself and meet people. Then I'm having the open house. To me, it's all of that, just not the one individual act.
Yeah, I can totally justify door knocking pre-open house. I like that idea, but I just mean in general, as far as just door knocking, that seems a little iffy in these times.
Yeah, but even if an old school way was you did it quarterly and you were the neighborhood expert. I'm the neighborhood expert. You just come in checking on them, introducing yourself in the first one. The other key is you door knock. While you're door knocking, if somebody answers the door and you have a good conversation with them, you mark that address, you send them a handwritten note. Hey, thank you for taking. A lot of times I'll say thank you for taking the time to talk to me yesterday. You wouldn't believe how many times I got doors closed in my face or people just didn't answer. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Or something along those lines.
If you go door knocking in your neighborhood, what would be the sort of, other than, what would be your script for introducing yourself?
In my neighborhood, I wouldn't. I live in a hill. I don't door knock my neighborhood. There's too many hills, but in general, no. So it depends what you're. I mean, it all depends what you are going to do. If you're a new agent just looking for business, bring out a sheet with market stats on it. Figure out the market stats. What's going on? How fast are things are selling? Real simple one right now. Hey, if you could sell your house for $20,000 more than you thought, would you be interested in selling right now? Because you're going to get people requesting CMAs from that. That's a map script that's come out here recently. A lot of them are using. They're using it on text too. If you can make $20,000 more than you thought you could on your current house, would you consider selling it? No? Yeah, no? Okay, great. Hey, this must be your dream house. I heard Matt say something along those lines. I like that one too. If somebody says, no, I'm not moving, I'm selling, oh, this is your dream house? Well, no, it's not. Oh, so you would consider moving at some point in time, wouldn't you? And you don't necessarily have to call them on that right then or be like, aha, I got you. But you're taking that information down. You're marking that in your head. Hey, I need to keep following up with them. There is some interest there. There is something. I mean, one of the hard parts I had to learn with real estate was not every single person I talk to is going to turn into a buyer seller lead. I thought I had to convert them all when I first started. It drove me crazy. It's a numbers game. If you get 1 out of 100, if you take 2 hours out of your day and you go and door knock a neighborhood and you got one person, that you think you can turn into a buyer or a seller. Right now in this market, on at least in my area, the average price point is $389. I mean, that's almost a $12,000 paycheck for 2 hours of work. Now, if I do that every day for 5 days, and I get one each day, that's 5. You know, we're talking, you know, $60,000 that is made there. So it feels like when you're out doing these activities, you need to, like, every single one of them, you just need one. You get one. If I was to write one, if I was to put one house or take one listing a day, or even a 5-day week, 5, you know, there's 52 weeks in the year. I take a couple weeks off. So say 50 weeks out of a year, I take 5 times 50, 250 listings. That's a career for some people. And it only takes one. Now, if I do one a week, that's 52. That's my goal is 50 listings this year. If I take one listing a week, you know how many phone calls I have to make during that week to get that one listing though? But I'm making a good living. So, I mean, that's the hard part is you gotta get over the fact that if I'm talking to people, a lot of people get the feeling of I need to convert them all. You just need one. You just need one because they'll stack. They'll start stacking up. Somebody ask a question. What we got here? The last name is. I'll put it. I'll write it here when we're all said done. I'll put a message in there. Actually, I'll just do it right now to everybody. Somebody was asking what my last name was. Here we go. Here's my information. City. Oops. I thought I spelled Williams right. Any other questions while I type this out?
John, you were in our top 3 producers for a team this last year at Capital City, weren't you?
Yes, we were number 3 in units. We were number 4 in production. Or no, we were number 3 in production, number 4 in units. Us and the Burks. Here's also the last one is my actual KW website. So yeah, we were number 3 and number 4, depending on which metric there. Any other questions? I can't let you go this early. We got to come up with some questions. Oh, I mean, I'll let you go early, but we can't not a whole hour or hour and 4 minutes. No. I want Mara getting mad at me. She may be a little bit, she's mean. Okay, recall and remember, what are the 3 phases of the listing relationship with the seller? We talked about at the very beginning. Stage the property, market the listing, and communicate with the seller. Right? Right? Somebody? I lose y'all? Bueller? Okay. Why staging important?
Sets you apart.
Sets you apart. Why is pricing number 1 on the 14-point marketing plan?
If you overprice it, you probably won't sell it.
Sorry, you cut out on that. What was the answer? Sorry.
If it's overpriced, it's not likely to sell.
Exactly. Doesn't matter how pretty it is or how many photos you do on it. If it's not priced right, it ain't gonna matter. Can you overprice a property?
Yes. Yes.
How do you know? How do you know if you put an overpriced property on the market?
Low activity.
Low activity, exactly. Can you underprice a house on the market?
Absolutely.
But will the market allow you to underprice one? If I throw a house, if I have a house that should be $300,000 and I put it on the market as $250,000, what's going to happen?
It's going to get bid up.
Bidding war.
The market and agents will never let you underprice a property. Because I, as an agent, will see that and be like, holy crap, we need to go look at that. Why is it that cheap? Kind of idea. And so when you're sitting down talking with sellers, you give them that information. They say, my concern is not underpricing the house. My concern is overpricing it, because if we overprice it, people will not show up, and we'll know that really quick. But if we underprice it, agents like me are going to see it and understand that it's low And that's how you get in traditional market. That's how you get multiple offers and bidding wars. That's how you used to do what's happening just now naturally. I mean, you could easily cause a bidding war on a property back in the day. You just price it, 30, 40,000 under the market. And all of a sudden you got multiple offers. And usually it would be higher up than if you would have priced it rightly. I don't think rightly is a word, but if you priced it right. Back in 06, 07, there was a company out of Colorado or Utah, somewhere in that area. They were listing houses for $1. They would put it on the market Saturday, and the two owners of this little small company would stand in front of the house, and they basically have an auction. And they swore they were getting more for the properties than if they would have put them on at their right price. Haven't heard from those guys in years, so who knows if it actually worked or they're still around or what's going on, but they were doing it. I mean, they were creating that, if you've ever been to an auction, the auction effect, you hear about it a lot. It's there. If you've ever been to one where people are bidding around you, all of a sudden you're bidding. There's on social media right now, there's a video going around about the Apple. If you've seen that one.
No.
Oh, okay.
The Apple, like the house market.
Yeah, the Apple's house market. And there's, I don't know. Oh yeah, they just basically bid it up, and some guy comes in at the end and goes, "I'll pay you $100 for the Apple." And they're like, "What?" He goes, "I'm from California. It's the cheapest Apple I've ever seen." And so it's pretty. If you look at it, I don't know where it's at exactly. I saw it on like Facebook or one of those, but it's Real Estate Apple or something like that. If you look it up, it'll come up. It's pretty funny because it's true, and it's exactly how it works. Anything else? Any questions? We're still an hour ahead. I got to at least get 20 more minutes out of you to feel like I'm. Doesn't have to be about listings. Doesn't have to be about anything about real estate. Any questions you guys have? Anything you want to know?
When you list a house, do you contact the HOA to get any information from them regarding like neighborhood CC&Rs?
I do not. CC&Rs and all that stuff title should have.
Oh, okay.
But I don't usually, depending on the HOA, some HOAs are not overly friendly. So I usually have my client contact them because they've already had the contact and conversations. I know, because we all know the HOA form that we have to put in with offers in an HOA. We used to not have that form 3 or 4 years ago even. We didn't have that form. We just all kind of knew that if it was an HOA, you gave each other, you got the information, you passed it back and forth. Well, the legislators and their infinite wisdom decided we needed a form. And that it was required that we have to give HOA information, which, all right, great, you made us have a form, we'll do it. Well, then the HOA lobby went in and said, wait a minute, you're requiring us to do this work, and that's not fair. This costs us time and money. So the legislature says, oh, okay, you can charge people for that paperwork if you want. So now there's a lot of HOAs that will charge you for all that paperwork as an agent if you call. So usually on those HOAs that do that, the seller usually can do a better chance of getting them for free than having to pay for them. Have I paid for HOA paperwork? Yes, I've had to pay for HOA paperwork, but you need it and it's required. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Usually I just have the seller do it. They usually are already in, they know the HOA. They at least know somebody in the HOA, and we don't have a ton of them here in Salem. We got a couple of big ones, and we got a bunch of little ones that are just HOA, non-manned HOAs with fees. They cover like walls and sign entries, and that's it. There's nothing really else. We have a couple of the larger Creekside, McNary Estates, Illahee, West Meadow Estates. Those are all larger HOAs that we have, but for the most part, we just don't have a lot of them. Come on, any more questions? Anybody? Oh, we got some chats here. Wait, let me see, maybe some chats. Oh, there's the Apple. All right, hold on. Oh, can you guys all see that and hear it?
I can't.
Let's see. Yeah. pretty accurate of what's going on out there right now, unfortunately. So. Anything else? Anybody? All right, I guess I may let you guys all go.
Do you offer other coaching?
Do I do coach? I do not. No. Nope. I most certainly will answer. If you email me or text or call, I am more than happy to answer questions. I don't offer direct coaching, no. But I will. I believe we're all in this together, and especially KW wise. So I always want to share and help and do whatever I can. I want you all to succeed. Need more good agents out there.
What do you think the busiest month is during the years? I've always perceived it as to being kind of summertime, end of summer, most housing coming on the market.
You're going to see you're going to see a lot more houses coming on the market in the summertime. For the fact that, unlike in normal years, people want to move when it's. I mean, this is Oregon. People want to move when it's nice out, when kids are out of school. Like my whole family lives in Las Vegas. Summertime is the worst time to buy a house because nobody wants to move in the heat. So.
When have you perceived the best deals coming on the market? I've usually kind of seen them come in like after winter's over and people have kind of waited, and there's been some kind of waiting going on. But if you can speak.
Yeah, the traditional market, usually you're seeing the best stuff October, November range, sometimes December, because those are serious sellers. They need to sell. They want to sell because they're selling during the holidays. They're selling in the rainy months of Oregon. And traditionally, yeah, you're seeing that. I mean, people are always going to try to time the market. I mean, people can't. If you're not in it every day, I mean, I'm in it every day and I can't time the market. And you're going to get somebody that sells one house every 7 to 10. I mean, the average person sells a house every 7 to 10 years. And so they're not going to be able to track it. And so usually right after you feel like a market's crashed, you're going to start finding some deals too, because people are panicking because they're trying to get their stuff in. They miss the height of the market. And you'll see a lot of that. So, but traditionally those are the times, usually October, November, December around here. So.
Do you have any issues with people putting a house on the market and then like say they don't get the kind of offers they're looking for, they leave it on? Obviously you want to do like the 21-day. We always hear Matt talk about like the secondary market. So you leave it on the market, you don't get the pricing that you're looking for, you pull it off the market and put it back on. Is that a red flag for anybody? I know as a buyer's agent, I look at it and I just go, I wonder what happened, but I don't really think anything much of it. Do you?
Personally, I'm not a fan of that. Personally, I see why they do it. They're pulling it off and putting it back on. They're pulling it off. They're trying to change that days on market. Is all they're doing. That's all they're messing with, and they're trying to make it come up as active new. I know I don't deal with RMLS a lot, but I know like Willamette Valley, we have a section where it shows all the active new listings coming on every day in the last 24 hours. You can click on and see the new ones. So they just keep bringing it up in that section by doing that. They'll also do price changes that way, $100. There was some coaching there for a while, a couple years back, that you would change it $100 up, $100 down, $100 up, $100 down, like every week to keep it up in front of people. In this market, in general, I'm just not a fan of that. Market your house, price it right, and get it sold.
This is super personal and I should probably take it offline, but I'm just this whole like tenant thing we've got going on here. The house is cluttered. It's full of crap. They're in a lease until August. In Portland, the rules are you have to have an offer in hand and then you can give a 90-day notice. And so we're kind of fighting with all of that. And as is, it's not going to sell at top value. Yeah. So the seller's wondering, like, hey, can we just put it on the market, see if we get a good investor offer? And then if we don't, pull it off the market in a few weeks and then put it back on in August when the tenant leaves.
Yeah, in that situation, yeah. I probably would be up for that. You just have to have a long talk with the seller. This is the issue. This is what we're looking at. Are you going to get top dollar right now? Probably not. It's just not going to happen. Investors are out there. If it's a decent enough offer, if it's a decent enough deal, there are investors looking out there that can't find good deals. So, that they may or may think it's a good deal, but if you're with, the cards all become different when you have tenants. It's just harder. It's so hard right now. And it was even hard with all the rule changes, especially in Portland area. We're seeing a lot of cash for keys. That's the easiest. Is top up $2,500, $3,500 and get them out the door. Yeah, 5 grand, there you go.
We offered
So,
5 grand and they can't go yet because they're gonna
They can't
buy, they have to sell, blah, blah, blah. There's all this stuff, right? So
yeah.
I was just curious if it looked, if there's any just overarching philosophy on putting things on the market, seeing what happens and then pulling them and then putting them back on later.
In that situation, no, you can easily talk through it. I mean, you're like, hey, we had tenants, we tried to sell it, didn't work out, we pulled it, tenants are out, we're selling it. And so that would be in my mind, no red flag at all.
And this ties into your whole conversation about timing of the market, because now you're looking at going in September and you just got done saying, October, November is when all the deals, because that's when people don't want to move. September is not a good time to move.
Yeah, but right now with such lack of inventory, this is not that's traditional thinking. Right now, it's wild west out there. It's when people ask me, is like sellers that they ask, is now a good time to sell? I tell them straight up every time, yes, because I can tell you what's happening right now. I don't know what's going to happen 3-4 months from now. Fed said they're not going to change the rates until 2022. They could change their mind tomorrow.
Yeah.
And unlike when rates go down, rates when they go up don't go up slow. They slowly take them down slow. But when they go up, they put them to where they want them quickly in like months. Not it took years to get it down to where it is now. It'll take months to get it back where they want it once they decide to go up. So that's why I always tell people now's a good time because I know what's happening. I know there's no inventory. I know where the rates are at. I know what people are looking for. I can't tell you that 3 to 6 months from now. I have no idea what's going to happen. If I could do that, I'd be a lot richer.
That makes sense.
So,
Thank you.
Yep.
I have one more question,
Yeah,
Sean.
sure.
When you were first gaining traction in the industry, back when you first started, was there any 1 or 2 different strategies that you helped employ, that really kind of leveled you up a bit? Was it hiring help or just essentially minimizing your weakness? Was it, a specific strategy?
The specific strategy that helped me the most when I first started, you guys can't do anymore, unfortunately.
What was that?
Craigslist.
Okay.
There was a thing but a bunch of agents around the country were doing it. I was one of them, where we were creating on Craigslist individual searches using the old EAD websites between like 100, because back then we'd sell houses for 200,000. That was normal. But I remember one year I sold one for 300,000. I was excited that year. We'd set up searches on our websites from 100,000 to 200,000. We take that URL and we plop it into Craigslist and be like, search for homes between 100 and 200,000. And I was getting hundreds of leads in a month from that for free. And we would do that on like multiple areas, 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, I'd had at any point in time, I'd have 24 ads running at once on Craigslist in different areas. And all of us ended up getting cease and desist orders from Craigslist. So if you go to post something, a listing on Craigslist, there's a screen, you go in, you click, wherever you're, like here I go, Salem, Oregon, real estate. Then there's a screen that pops up that asks, a bunch of different questions. Basically, you click either for sale by owner or for sale by agent. So you click the for sale by agent. Well, there's a third screen that pops up. I caused that third screen. So it says that it has to be an individual listing with an individual listing linked to an individual house. It can't be basically a generic search like we were doing.
Right.
We generate, I'm still selling houses to people from that list. And that was 13 years ago, 14 years ago, we were doing that, 12 years ago. I'm still selling houses to people from that. And so that's really what it took off. But I don't know what it is right now, but there's something like that out there right now. You just have to find it.
I see.
And that's going to be the key. Somebody's doing something somewhere generating leads. I mean, then it went on to like Zillow and all that kind of people are doing Zillow and all that kind of stuff. And so people are generating lots of stuff. We're seeing command. I think that might be where you're at now because they're cheap ads. I mean, if you guys know who Nick Baldwin is, get on Facebook, find Nick Baldwin. I'll type his name in here to everyone. Baldwin. He's Keller Williams. He's a team leader back east, and he is one of the top command guys. And he's running ads through command and generating hundreds of leads, same kind of idea. And though mine were free, this is costing some, but it's a way. So I did a lot of open houses. I did. Which market are you from?
I'm here, Eugene, Springfield.
Okay. So good example. I was marketing tanks. We had no houses really, for nothing for sale. There was a builder who built a house not too far from my house that was vacant, and it was listed by Ben Mondragon. You know Ben? Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I called up Ben. I was brand new. I was probably a couple months in the business, and I said, can I hold your listing open since you're in Eugene? He said, yeah. He gave me all the information, and he goes, do you need anything? I said, yeah. How do I do it? Because I'm the original Salem agent. There was no KW in Salem when I started. I was working out of Portland, but I worked in Salem. Salem office has only been here 5 years. I've been with Keller Williams 15. And so he said, yeah, okay, great. And so he, for the first 6-8 months, he mentored me and taught me how to hold open houses over the phone. And basically, and so things like that. I mean, you guys find something like that to where you're the only one doing it. I mean, the wheel hasn't been, there's not, like I said earlier, I've come up with one original idea in real estate. It didn't work.
What was that idea?
I had these boxes that we were going to give to clients after the appraisal came in. We were called moving boxes. And they had like tags for boxes and pens and gift cards for pizza and different things that we were going to drop off their houses and tape with our logo on it so they could help them move. Yeah, they're still sitting in my office at home. So we never did it. And we keep talking about doing, we haven't done it. I made those like 4 years ago. So, so it may have worked if I just did it, but we just never did it. So
give it a try.
Yeah, just come up with, and it could be as simple as, like I said, door knocking and open houses. It's cheap, it's easy, it's free. Your basic expense is making copies for those things. And it's a great way to start out. I mean, that's what I did. I was holding open houses for Ben there at that one house. And I would go weekend, Saturday and Sunday, weekend after weekend, and the market was crashing. And I'd get, in a month, I'd get 2 people through because there was no buyers out there. But, a lot of times out of the 2, I'd convert 1. It's kind of idea. So, I mean, it's that kind of thing. You just got to stick at it. It's real estate is simple, but not easy.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
All right. Well, I think I've kept you all long enough. If nobody has any other questions, you guys got my information.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. And if you guys enjoyed this, let Matt, Mara, and all them know. If you didn't, my name is Ben Mondragon, and go ahead and let them know. So, all right. You guys all have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks again.